Hello everyone, I'm Hannah. A warm welcome to all of you tuning into Asian Star Trend. Today, we're pleased to share with you the following updates. In the middle of a sea of strangers, Yu Long's hand found Yang Mie Mie's and he didn't let go. "You're my only exception," he said, his voice low yet certain, slicing through the noise of the bustling crowd. For a heartbeat, the chaos of the world faded. The flashing light softened into a constellation. The chatter dissolved into silence, and the two stood in a world entirely their own. It wasn't just a gesture. It was a statement. The kind that speaks louder than any public announcement or red carpet confession. Yu Long's touch carried the unspoken promise of someone willing to stand firm against the tide, declaring with quiet conviction what others might only dare to hint at from a distance. The scene looked almost cinematic, two figures framed by blurred motion, their stillness making them all the more striking. The clasp of their hands was not casual, it was deliberate, a connection that seemed to pulse with unfiltered honesty. You could almost feel the warmth traveling from fingertip to heart, a subtle yet unmistakable current. Yu Long glanced down at Yang Mie Mie, his gaze soft but unwavering, like a tranquil lake reflecting nothing but her presence. There was no grand display, no dramatic flourish, just a depth of emotion that needed no translation for the onlookers. The moment was more than romantic spectacle. It was a reminder of something quietly powerful. In a world obsessed with noise, performance, and fleeting trends, sincerity still has the ability to stop time. When the crowd began to move again, the spell didn't break, it lingered, etched into memory. Those who witnessed it walked away not just entertained, but touched, carrying with them the rare image of love that doesn't need to shout to be heard. In a city that never stops moving, Yu Long's hand found Yang Mie Mie's and everything else fell away. "You're my only exception," he said, his voice steady, almost a vow. Around them, the noise of the crowd dimmed, the light softened into tiny stars, and time seemed to pause. His gaze seemed to whisper, "No matter what happens in the outside world, I will always be here with you." Even the passing breeze hesitated, unwilling to disturb the fragile magic between them. It was impossible not to think of their first handhold, slightly awkward, tinged with shyness, yet powerful enough to carve its place in memory. The warmth between their palms was almost burning, but neither wanted to let go. The space between them felt like a delicate thread, one touch could set it trembling. It was thrilling and sweet, like stepping into uncharted territory, like planting a seed deep within the heart, and that seed had grown. Slowly, quietly, it had bloomed into something undeniable, a small flower of trust and affection, radiating a fragrance that lingered long after they parted. Now, their clasped hands felt effortless, natural, carrying with them a silent understanding, a promise without words. Under bright street lamps, in front of countless eyes, they didn't need grand declarations. A simple gesture told the world, "We belong to each other." For those watching, it wasn't just a moment of romance, it was a lesson in subtlety, in how love can be both steady and electric, loud in its silence. In an age of fleeting attention, their connection was a rare reminder that some bonds aren't meant to be shouted about, they're meant to be felt. And on that night, everyone who saw them felt it. In a city that never stops moving, Yu Long's hand found Yang Mie Mie's and the world seemed to fall away. "You're my only exception," he said, his voice steady, almost a vow. The crowd's noise dimmed, the lights softened into tiny stars, and time paused just long enough for everyone watching to feel it. His gaze seemed to whisper, "No matter what happens in the outside world, I will always be here with you." Even the breeze lingered, unwilling to disturb the fragile magic between them. Their first handhold, slightly awkward, shy, still lived vividly in memory, the warmth between their palms almost burning, yet neither wanting to let go. Over time, that warmth had grown roots, blossoming into something unshakable. Every street they walked became a chapter in their quiet love story. Sometimes it was under the golden light of a sunny morning, other times beneath the silver haze of a drizzly night. Without an umbrella, rain would beat on their shoulders, their footsteps mingling on damp pavement. These moments, ordinary to anyone else, were their pearls, strung into a necklace of shared time. They had weathered storms, bridged misunderstandings, and learned to hold on tighter after every embrace. To strangers, they might seem like just another couple. In truth, each glance, each reconciliation, had shortened the distance between their hearts. Yulong's palm was broad and steady, a shield against life's noise. Mie Mie's hand, once uncertain, now rested safely within. Knowing this was more than fleeting affection, it was lasting protection in a world where certainty is rare. Their clasped hands told a timeless truth: to hold on is to trust, to never let go is to promise. And perhaps that is why, even in the busiest crowd, they felt like the only two people who truly existed in a city that never stops moving. Yulong's hand found Yang Mie Mie's and the world seemed to fade into soft focus. "You're my only exception," he said, his voice steady, almost a vow. The crowd's noise dimmed, the lights blurred into tiny stars, and time paused just long enough for the moment to etch itself into memory. His gaze seemed to whisper, "No matter what happens in the outside world, I will always be here with you." That first handhold, shy, almost hesitant, still lingered in their minds. Over time, the warmth between their palms had taken root, blossoming into an unshakable bond. Every street they walked became a chapter in their shared story, some in the golden light of morning, others beneath a rainy night's silver glow. Without an umbrella, raindrops dotted their shoulders, their footsteps mingling on damp pavement. These fragments, strung together over years, formed a necklace of memories only they could truly understand. Yulong's hand was like an invisible thread binding them together. Outside noise, rumors, they didn't matter. What mattered was holding on in the moments that mattered most, as if to say, "We will walk together until the dawn." Perseverance wasn't dramatic like in the movies, it was a quiet choice, made daily, in carving out time, in facing misunderstandings, in sending a simple message, "I'm here." Their love had weathered storms yet stayed rooted, like a tree moving through seasons without breaking. And there were moments, rare, fleeting, when the world seemed too slow. Yulong would glance down, the corners of his lips lifting just slightly, a smile that pierced through to the heart. In that stillness, they needed no words. The noise of the world remained outside. Inside, there was only a space of sincerity, trust, and the quiet certainty that they belonged to each other in a city that never sleeps. Yulong's hand found Yang Mie Mie's and the world seemed too slow. "You're my only exception," he said, his voice steady, a quiet vow against the backdrop of a bustling crowd. The noise softened into a distant hum, the lights blurred into tiny stars, and for a moment, they existed in a world of two. A glance between them could erase everything else. Over time, Mie Mie had learned tolerance through Yulong, while he had grown gentler because of her. They shaped each other's edges, creating a world that felt softer, safer. Every street they walked together became part of their shared map. Golden mornings scented with fresh air, drizzly nights under rain-washed streetlights. Without an umbrella, raindrops kissed their shoulders, their footsteps mingled on damp pavement. These moments, ordinary to others, were their pearls, strung into a necklace of memories. Yulong's palm was broad and warm, like a shield against the noise of life. Mie Mie's hand, once uncertain, rested securely within. Love, they knew, was not unchanging. It required tending, patience, and the courage to face storms together. Their perseverance wasn't cinematic drama, but quiet choices made every day, a greeting each morning, a good night before sleep, a message that simply said, "I'm here." They looked forward to the day they could stand before the world, hands entwined, smiling as they said, "Once we've held on, we'll never let go." And perhaps that is why those who witness them can't help but pause. In an age of fleeting attention, their bond is a reminder that enduring love still exists. And as long as their steps remain in sync, the path ahead, no matter how uncertain, will always lead them forward, together.